Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to take you through my presumed top 5 GBR clears, basically my top 5 best teams, utilizing all of my best DPS characters in addition to my best supports and my best leaderships. Now, this one should be pretty familiar to you. This is the Jean Grey team. I think I've used this exact team before, a very similar one. Of course, Ghost Panther is here for the fire damage in addition to the other support buffs against villains. And we can actually take advantage of Jean Grey's leadership. And I've got my lovely Alliance members here not doing any damage on purpose so that I can kind of soak up all of the hits. And we've already skipped through the first phase of the fight because Jean Grey is just that fucking strong. That's right. 40 seconds in, and I've dealt 30 million damage. So that's close to 1 million damage per second. Pretty nice average damage if you ask me. Now the other 4 clears I'll throw up on the screen just for a moment here. The only ones that I'm kind of curious about that I haven't tested too frequently or too much recently are the, we're just gonna pop this and see if we can kill him right here. Well, we can't. But the ones that I'm a little bit worried about are Captain America, where I'm not going to be using a debuff lead, and I'm generally I'm mostly doing that because I'm counting on Captain America being able to use his own debuff. And here we're going to show off the iframe ignore to actually kill the GBR boss while he is up in the sky. So there's definitely ignore iframe on that tier 3 skill, and we blew through that in 1:22 with almost 60 million damage. So yeah, I was averaging 62 seconds, or no, 82 seconds. Damn. Okay, not quite 1 million damage per second, but really close. That was my best team. Oh, I should have replayed with the same guys because I gotta invite them. That was my best team. This is gonna be my second best team. We're gonna be using White Fox with Sharon Rogers and Sentinel, or sorry, not Sentinel. We had Sentinel, but whoops, wrong guy. Damn it, we had Sentinel, but we're gonna be using Strife because I just decided it doesn't really matter. Strife versus Sentinel. Okay, we got somebody else who joined. I made a mistake. I goofed up. I was supposed to continue with the exact same team, but we'll just see how long it takes these guys to join, and then we'll just jump into the next one and do it. But yeah, the only one that I'm really concerned about is the Fury Captain America Valkyrie team. I haven't tested it too much, but you know, I've played with Captain America with his endgame uniform in GBR, and he performed really well, a lot better than his old uniform, because now he actually does damage with his 4th skill. Even though there is no all defense down, he still does damage, and I've got a CTP of Rage, so he does even more damage on top of that, and the CTP of Rage appears to be quite strong for countering the GBR high defense. But these first 2, especially Sharon and Jean, just absolutely melt. There's definitely more options than just these 5 teams for GBR as well. It's not. It's definitely not. You know, a short list. It's not. The list is not this short. You could definitely throw in other characters. I thought of putting Thor in my top 5 originally, but I didn't. I also thought of Luna Snow as well, but I personally just don't like the way Luna Snow plays that much anymore. I'm kind of personally getting tired of how she plays, just because it's very hard, and it's always inconsistent on how to trigger her proc with her tier 3 skill. Sometimes you want to cancel it into 2 or 3 or whatever, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's just not as consistent as I'd like it to be. But yeah, Sharon Rogers is following in the footsteps of Jean and blowing through that first stage. I got lucky with the tier 3 skill, you know, timing, and it procced really, really well right at the beginning. So I was able to get that damage off pretty much pronto. And we're gonna see here. Oh, we canceled 5 a little bit earlier. That was kind of dumb. But let's see here. Let's get this. We get stomped on, which is good because we get the damage accumulation, and then we get to pop this skill off. This should do a ton of damage, and even with no leadership, just like Jean Grey, even with no leadership, she does a mountain of damage. And I don't think she has ignore iframe on her tier 3 skill, so we are gonna have to wait. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait here, and we're gonna, hopefully that would, that procced, that triggered her, it triggered her damage accumulation. So there we go, dusted through 2, a little bit slower than Jean because I had to wait for him to fall back down, but still a completely dominant performance with a less of a buff, because, you know, Ghost Panther and Shuri versus just White Fox. man, Sharon Rogers just does amazing damage. This third one is going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to finally utilize Wasp, where we don't have to put her in the leadership slot, but we're bringing along Mr. Fantastic and Coulson. We bring along Coulson specifically for Mr. Fantastic because of the fact that wherever Coulson is, he gives 20% guaranteed crit rate. And that 20% guaranteed crit, I might actually bring along Warwolf instead, but no, we're going to go with Coulson if I can ever find him. And that guaranteed, wow, I have no idea where Coulson is. I think I must have scrolled by him, but that guaranteed crit rate is really going to help me trigger the Rage proc a lot more consistently, and Warwolf has the same 20% guaranteed crit. This one should be a little bit slower than Jean Grey and Sharon, but I mean, you know, the combat boys and male characters in general have a pretty hard time keeping up with the insane DPS of the female characters in this game, especially when it comes to the blast types. And the cat is super curious right now and cannot stop meowing. But hopefully she'll calm the hell down, because I cannot play and talk and record and take care of a cat. This is the limit of my multitasking, guys. But Mr. Fantastic is a pretty fun clear for GBR, especially with the CTP of Rage, because he hits quite hard, and he's got that large AoE on his 5th skill. I don't use him anymore for, what the hell? Where the hell are you targeting, buddy? I don't use him. He's drunk. I don't use him anymore for ABX because I have Captain America, but I do really enjoy playing in general as combat types, and you can see he charges up his tier 3 skills super fast, so it's just really nice. And, you know, I can't get the same kind of production out of Wolverine, sadly, so Mr. Fantastic is going to have to moonlight or kind of surrogate my Wolverine for the time being until Wolverine finally, maybe one day in the future, maybe in 10 years when this game is, you know, on its last legs, he'll be a good PvE character, and I can use him for PvE. I'm having a hard time here with this Sentinel guy over here, but we're going to we're saving up the tier 3 skill. Of course, we probably could have used it and already been back on, but we're gonna pop it right now, and we're a little bit early, but I think that's still enough to almost take us all the way through to the next phase. So not quite as potent as Sharon or Jean, but not too bad. So that was a minute. He's like 30 seconds behind, which is quite a lot, but he is at 26 million. We did get mind controlled, so we have 7 seconds of brainwash, but there is Wasp's tier 2 passive triggering to cleanse us, and now we're going to trigger the tier 3 skill here. We get to pop it right away, which is nice. Again, you don't get quite the amount of bar rippage as you do with Jean and Sharon, but it's still definitely a really fast and very fun clear to do with Mr. Fantastic. He's one of the few combat types that can really do this smoothly and really do this well, and you have a bunch of different team-ups that you can utilize with Mr. Fantastic as well. You know, you can use Thing, you can bring the Thing for the 40% and the super armor. You can bring along, you know, Mrs. Fantastic and Human Torch if you need like extra damage dealers to kind of carry you if you take damage, although you won't have the debuff. You can also use a Warwolf instead of Coulson, as I mentioned. But yeah, I just like playing as combat types. I wish there were more and stronger combat types. I wish there was an energy damage dealing combat type. I wish a lot of things for Marvel Future Fight, and that's good because we're still hooked after all these years. There we go. We're gonna be able to smack him down. This one's a little bit longer, and there we go. Just over 2.5 minutes. Honestly, not bad at all. For Mr. Fantastic without a uniform, remember that, and only 1 support in Coulson. And oh, those are my best rewards to date. Oh shoot, I have this bad habit of continuously leaving the group, and they probably think I don't want to play with them, which is not the case. The 4th group we're going to be running here is Captain Marvel with Odin and Ebony Maw. Now, I was honestly thinking of using Captain Marvel without a debuff leadership. We're actually just going to throw in Sentinel instead of Odin. It doesn't really matter. We're going to... well, I was thinking of using Captain Marvel without a debuff. And for those of you that have tried Captain Marvel without a debuff for GBR, let me know if you've had luck. Because I think with her constant iframes, she can actually do it and not have to use a debuff. Now, I hesitate to do it on a video and suggest it to you guys because I know that some people might do that and take that as an opportunity or take that as a suggestion to just stop using debuffs altogether. It's a very risky way of playing. I don't know what's taking these guys so long to just choose a team. It's a very risky way of playing a character in GBR, but if you have a tier 3 character, if you have a really strong build like a CTP of Energy or a CTP of Rage, and you're confident and you've cleared with the character before in the past, then I would say try it out with characters that have lots of iframes and you can kind of chain iframes and they have the damage, or for characters that have a shorter cleanse and they have lots of little immunities. So in the case of lots of iframes, I'm talking about Captain Marvel, or I'm thinking Captain Marvel, I'm thinking Arby's. And then in the case of lots of little immunities and you know, a bit of debuff removal, I'm thinking about Captain America, because he has the 2-second debuff removal on his, I believe, tier 2 passive, and then he's got the iframes on 5, he's got the invincibility on 4, and he's got the immunity on 1 that you can kind of spam quite a bit. So I am going to be saving the most difficult, possibly the most difficult run for the end, where we do Captain America sans debuff, because I think it'll really slow down his time if we can't bring along Nick Fury to buff up his damage. Now, the tier 3 skill for Captain Marvel is actually not that good, but we just want to be able to pop the buff on 5. That one right there. That's really the money maker here, and you can see the bars really start to fly. And actually, I believe 3. What happened? I got frozen. Wow, that was complete BS. I believe that 3 does more damage than 4 does with her new uniform if you get the radiant form up. But we're having a bit of a problem here at the beginning. We got interrupted for like 4 seconds in a row. Again, not bad. We had somebody drop out due to connection issues. Boy, these are just not the smoothest runs. Those first 2 were super smooth, but now we're encountering some technical difficulties. But let's see what the third skill looks like with the full help of the proc and radiant form. Honestly, not that great. To be, I expected a little bit more in terms of the bars moving, but let's see if we can combine that with 6. Yeah, I think she lost radiant form halfway through. Again, not the most impressive amount of damage, but it definitely gets it done. Similar to Mr. Fantastic. We're actually not getting a crit here, which is quite annoying. Still don't have a crit. There we go. That's what a crit looks like. Wow. Almost losing the entire radiant form because I just couldn't find the crit. I guess I need more crit rate on my cards, guys. That's what that means. But we're going to ignore the ads, and we're just going to go straight for Master Mold. We're going to try to proc on 3, or at least get 3 in the Rage proc, because it's a pretty long animation, and we kind of goofed up popping 4 there, but that's okay, because I think, wow, this is actually going to be slower than Mr. Fantastic. I'm kind of shocked. I really expected Captain Marvel to be better. We're going to iframe ignore here because we just want to squeeze out a little bit more damage. And we want to get this done. I think everyone's dead. No, not quite dead. Dormammu's still kicking, but yeah, I didn't expect this to take this long. Wow, Captain Marvel, really? I did expect more damage out of her. Huh. Well, 3 minutes, slower than Mr. Fantastic. Well, he had the leadership. That's kind of the unfair thing. He did have the leadership. Maybe with her own leadership, and maybe that's why I wanted to test her without the debuff, she would have been able to do it. But yeah, 3 minutes is not bad with no leadership. The last one we're going to try out, we're going to super juice out Captain America with both Fury and I don't know who my last buff character is, Valkyrie. Okay, I had to write it down because honestly couldn't keep track of it. I don't play GBR that aggressively anymore, so I don't have these teams memorized. But let's get these 2 guys in here for the last run. We're going to also use our boost points, so we have an additional 5 times rewards, and we're going to see how Captain Marvel fares. Now, he doesn't have any sort of leadership for the debuff. He does have the self debuff, he does have the immunity, the invincibility. The only other safety here on this team specifically is if Captain America dies, Nick Fury does have enough damage to possibly finish things out. It'll obviously make the run take a lot longer, but I honestly think, especially after the video yesterday, Nick Fury with my build now has what it takes. Yes, we can. To clear that, to clear this last bit if Captain America dies. I don't think Captain America is going to die. I don't even think I'm going to get mind controlled. I honestly think between the iframes and the immunity and the invincibility that he's basically untouchable, but I could be wrong, and this is the perfect time to find out if I am wrong. So we're going to start off with the 1 and the 2 and the 3, because we just want to proc the rage proc so we can get the damage flowing, and we are successful, and we keep 1 up pretty much all the time. 5 also gives us the additional ignore defense that we need, because we're actually undercapped on ignore defense by quite a lot. Now, the tier 3 skill for Captain America, although it does quite a lot of damage in like World Boss and stuff like that, and ABX, I don't expect it to be as good against Master Mold, because it's just very hard to get, but actually, let's try it. We're gonna have to cancel 4, and then we're just gonna sit here. It's very hard to get hit in between, and we're just gonna actually just pop it, and whatever happens, happens. It's not bad. Yeah, you know what? It's just not bad. It's just he does a lot of damage with his abilities, and even if you are in the wrong place, yeah, you know what? Damn, he's only 15. I mean, he has 2 supports. Let's keep this in mind. But Jean Grey had 2 supports, and he's only 15 seconds behind her. So you know what, Cap? Do it, dude. You're doing it. You're doing it. Let's go. Let's pop 1 more tier 3 skill. If we could move this back and then forward to absorb some of that damage, that might have been kind of a sleeper strategy. But without that, Cap just has to hope. We hope for the stomps. Yes, the stomps are what we want, but we want them with the tier 3 skill charging. We don't want them right now because we're not accumulating any sort of damage. But with the... Oh my gosh, I think Bacon's snoring. That's hilarious. Stomp me, stomp me. No, stomp me. Stomp me, dude. There we go. That was a stomp. Was that a stomp? Well, for the damage, looks like a stomp. Looks like it was a stomp from the damage. We're going to take a bit of damage here. But this is pretty good. 2 minutes in, and we're down to the last 20 bars. This is not bad at all. Captain America, no debuff, no problem. Look at the damage. He is just so savage. We're not going to be able to crit during the healing phase. This is actually an interesting thing that I didn't know of prior to the last time I did a GBR video. Someone mentioned it in the YouTube comments, so thank you to whoever that was. When Master Mold has that green bar and he's healing, it's impossible to... Wow, that hurt. It's impossible to crit him. So I actually didn't know that, but I do now, and that's why you won't be able to trigger your Rage proc. But we are going to be able to get this, and it looks like we're just short of Mr. Fantastic's time. So pretty dope run there from Captain America. Those would be roughly my 5 best and most fun to play GBR teams. We talked about Luna Snow. We talked about other potential characters. Those rewards are so bad. I wasted 150 boost points for that. Well, that's why we have the survey on right now about GBR, because that's not good enough, and that's just not enough of an incentive to play this game mode and sacrifice so many boost points. But yeah, there's definitely other characters that can do it. It's not a short list. It's not a list as short as 5. There's at least 10, 15, I would guess at least 20 characters with different team combinations that can do it. 1 support, 2 supports, maybe using Wasp, etc. But hit me up with your top 5 for GBR. Hit me up if you think there are other characters like Captain Marvel or Captain America that can do it without a debuff leadership, and they can actually do it consistently without dying to mind control or being frozen repeatedly, and they don't take like 10 minutes. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again today. Take care.